here's a picture of me. I travel all around the world. I coach professional athletes. I speak all around the world. I get to tell my story. I get to inspire and instruct people like you to live better lives or improve their business. And I got to do all of that after I learned just one thing. And I want to teach you guys that one thing today. But my life hasn't always been that way. You know, growing up, I grew up in a small town called Gardena, California. And in Gardena, it's really close to Compton, California, and Watts, California. And you guys don't know where that is, but that's in the USA. And those are rated in the top 10 most dangerous cities in the USA and still rated that. And in the 1990s, where I grew up, the statistics showed that if you grew up in that age, a black male would either be dead or go to jail by the time they were 19 years old. And coming up in that dangerous life, in that dangerous area, I also wasn't that smart. I didn't even learn to read till I was in the 3rd grade, which for you guys is the 4th year, right? I didn't even know how to read, and my teachers used to make fun of me. They used to say things like, they used to set me up and make me read in front of the whole class to try to embarrass me. I had one teacher tell me, you know, you're going to end up dead or in jail anyway, so what are you even going to school for? And he said, if you don't end up dead or in jail, then you're going to just end up staying at home the rest of your life. And so fast forward, my teachers were right. You know, I played basketball. I wanted to play. It was my first dream to play in the National Basketball Association called the NBA. Who knows what the NBA is? So that's where the best basketball players in the world is. And I actually work with those guys today with their confidence and their mental performance. But it was my dream. But my coaches told me that I was too short. I'm only 5'10". You can't cut it. And so fast forward, my teacher was right, my coaches were right. I quit basketball, and I ended up depressed, and I ended up working as a paramedic. And as a paramedic, you work on the ambulance, and you just help people that are sick, right? And so one day I was working at this bad ambulance company. It was just a bad job, and I was running late to work. And before I was running late, I was actually asleep, and I had this nightmare. And the nightmare was that I was depressed. I was working a dead-end job. I could barely pay my bills. And then when I woke up, that dream was actually my reality. And that day I was asleep, and I remember I got this voice in my head. It told me, Roy, wake up. And I remember just shaking my head like, huh? And it was like, Roy, wake up. And it said it real forcefully, like, today is going to be the day that changes your life. And I got up, kind of brushed my teeth, and it was actually a cold 40-degree morning that day, which is super cold for me, especially in California. We're used to 70 being the lowest and sunny days every day, right? And so I remember there was ice on the windshield, and I drove this ugly 1987 Honda Civic. And this one's actually better than the one I had. The one I had was like rusted out. It didn't even have a floor in it. Has anybody seen the cartoon The Flintstones? So in the Flintstones, they would run because there was no floor in there, and they would run in the car, right? I actually had to do that to start my car. And so I paid $200 for this car, which is it's like 130 pounds, I believe. So I was getting up, running late, and I could just hear my boss's voice in my head saying, Roy, if you're late one more time, we got to let you go. We got to fire you. And I just couldn't afford my bills anymore. I couldn't afford to get fired. So I hopped in this car like the Flintstones. I ran, hopped in, I turned it on, and I was on my way. And when I was on my way to work, I was running late, so I decided to get in the diamond lane. And in America, the diamond lane is the lane where you can pass everyone up on the left-hand side, and everybody else is just stuck in traffic on the right. So I'm passing everyone up, but in able to ride in the diamond lane, you have to have 2 or more people with you. That's the law over there. And so there's this lane, and there's a wall here, and then there's everyone stuck in traffic. And so I'm on my way. I'm making good time. I'm like, yes, I'm going to make it to work, right? I'm not going to get fired. And I remember listening to my mother's voice singing in my head because I didn't have a radio in the car. I couldn't afford a radio. So I would listen to her voice singing. And I was listening to her voice singing. And then I started to smell smoke. And as I started to smell smoke, I was like, what's going on? And there was nothing between me and the engine. Like, it was just, the engine was just right there because it was a big rusty hole right there, right? And so then the car started to die. And the car started to die, and I'm inside of the diamond lane, and there's a wall here, so I can't move the car to the side, and I didn't want to get a ticket, and I was like, this can't be happening. And so the car started to die. I get out of the car, and I did what I did all the time in my life. I looked behind me to see if someone could help me, and I remember when I looked behind me, it was this beautiful young lady in her $100,000 black Mercedes, and she looked at me and she just shrugged her shoulders like, I can't help you. I remember turning around like, God, and I looked up, and when I looked up, I had 2.7 miles to go. I don't know what that is in kilometers, but I had 2.7 miles to go until I can put the car on the side of the road. And I started to push this car by myself. And the only thing that gave me the energy to push this car was I was just so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed that the Channel 7 news chopper was above me because the news would go up and down the freeway and report accidents. And they reported me like, guy in Diamond Lane holding up traffic. This is the reason why traffic is held up in the Diamond Lane today. And so as I'm pushing this car, I just had tears in my eyes. And I said, Roy, why are you here? Why do you self-sabotage yourself? And I didn't like the answer to that question. And the answer was, it's because I created that. I created my reality in that moment. And as I'm pushing the car, I finally, after about 20 minutes, got it on the side. And then I thought, this is power. This is personal power. If I ruin my life by the choices I made, then all I have to do is make better choices. And what I learned was I needed to take responsibility. And then I started to read a book a week. And then I learned how to create my life with intention. And that's what I want to teach you guys today. That was that one secret I learned. I learned how to create my life. So, in able to create our lives, first we have to know what reality is, right? Because we want to create reality. So, what is reality? I ask people this question. They say reality is consciousness, reality is God, reality is perception. But I want to ask you a simple question. If a bus was coming at you 30 miles per hour, 30 kilometers per hour, and you're in the road, is the bus real? Yeah, right? If the bus hits you, you will be hurt. But what is it about that bus that makes it real? The bus is physical. Reality, the test of reality is physicalness. The problem is we all let our actions get dictated by what people told us that wasn't even physical. Oh, you're not cute, or you're this, or you're not cool. All of these words that aren't even physical, but they make us feel a way, right? Everything that was told about you, right? They're not physical, so they're not real. So I want you guys to make a distinction between what's not real, words, ideas, concepts about you, and what is real, things that are physical, okay? Things that are physical are measurable. Things that are not real are not physical and not measurable. Bus, physical. Ideas, not physical, okay? We live in a chasm between what's unreal and what's real. Ideas, physicalness, okay? Unreal things make real things, and experiences powers them both. Things that aren't real that you think, you can still feel them. And if you get hit by a bus, you're going to feel that too, right? Experience powers both of those. We can impact the world with our actions, but our actions are controlled by the unreal world. In neuroscience, they've proven this. In neuroscience, they prove that the brain patterns, the part of your brain that controls your actions, are connected to the part of your brain that controls perception, okay? So, the brain does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. By knowing this, we can create our own reality by mastering the unreal world. And the unreal world is created in your language. In the beginning, there was the word, right? Words are not real, but they impact and create the physical world. Words describe and create experiences, but the problem is we agreed with all the words and ideas that everybody gave us, and we never created the words and ideas for ourselves. And that's what I want to teach you guys today. You have to learn to agree with yourself. That's what confidence is. The truth is, you're confident now. You're creating your reality now. But that internal dialogue is what you got to learn to agree with and learn to control it. Albert Einstein said we should not try to be people of success, but we should try to be people of value. But how do you know something's valuable? What is value? You can't know something's valuable until you agree that it's valuable, right? That's what value is. Value is just agreement. Agreement is the secret to creating your own reality. There are 2 skills you need to master in your life, and I promise you, there is nothing else that you need to master to be successful. I've been there, I've done that. If you master these 2 things, you can get anything and create anything you want. 1, learn to get your brain to agree with itself. 2, learn to persuade others and influence others to agree with you as real. But how do we do that? The secret to getting yourself and others to agree with you and your words is you have to become a person of high personal power. I want to teach you how to create personal power to where you just walk into a room and boom, they can feel your energy. You're just vibrating that energy and they can just tell that you're the real one. There are 4 foundations to becoming a person of extreme value and personal power. First is integrity. If we look in the dictionary, the definition of integrity means to be whole, complete, and undivided. So we want to make sure our word is whole, complete, and undivided. Hey, Mom, I'm going to wash those dishes, but we don't wash them. When we do that, we lose power. You have to be in line and congruent with your word. And guess what? If you're not going to wash the dishes, all you have to do is communicate. Mom, I'm not going to wash the dishes, but we know that's not going to go over well, right? 2, be real, authenticity. So many people think that they're real, but they're really not. Because guess what? There's times when we're not real, right? There's times when we're fake. So in order to be real, we just have to admit to ourselves that there's times that we're not real. And by being authentic with our inauthenticities, we become real in that moment. 3, take 100% responsibility, like I was forced to when I was pushing that car. You have to take 100% responsibility for what you're creating, because guess what? You are creating this world in your own perceptions. And lastly, find something that's bigger than you. Is that mom, dad, brother, sister? Because you're going to go through times that are extremely hard in your life, and you need something with enough power to pull you through when you're going through those bad times. So before you go into creating your own world and chasing your dreams, if you are clear about what's bigger than you, then that thing will pull you through when things get tough. Thank you guys for having me.